I was surprised that Michael B. Jordan won Best Actor. Everybody will say, well, he played two twins in this movie. However, he played both characters more or less exactly the same.
I know.
Like,
the joke is they have to have different colour hats on, Monty.
Yeah.
That's for real how stupid this movie is. That's how they divide them. If you, that's essentially Luigi and Mario.
All right, we're here maybe a few weeks late to talk about this year's Academy Awards. And right off the bat, my co-hosts have a take for you about what should have been Best Picture. And it's not, obviously, Paul Thomas Anderson's One Battle After Another. What is it, gentlemen?
I think it's easy for me, personally. I didn't watch all the films that were nominated. I watched One Battle After Another, I watched Sinners, I watched Marty Supreme, I watched Bugonia. Weapons. So I watched a bunch of Bugonia. So I watched a bunch of them. I didn't watch them all. I thought of that bunch. For me, the easy winner was Marty Supreme. Like, I actually think that's an example of a movie which nailed what it went for. Great central performance, good supporting performances. I also thought it was an example of a film where actually something I'll give it credit for is I don't think it overreached. It actually sort of stayed self-contained, had a through line. I thought it was just a good film. Listen, I'm not going to go crazy. Like, if that's the Oscar win, it's not one of the best Oscar years, but it was a good film. I enjoyed it. I thought it was just a very enjoyable viewing experience.
I mean, I didn't hate the fact that One Battle After Another got Best Picture, even though it's not PTA's best film.
Not even close, by the way. And if you guys are curious, we did a whole arc on Paul Thomas Anderson, so you can go back and look at that.
We're obviously big fans of him, although it is super interesting that he essentially adapted a Thomas Pynchon book, but only thematically. It's the whole process of making the movie is maybe more interesting than the movie itself. But yeah, I mean, for me, I think Marty Supreme was probably the film of the year. I mean, like, it was an instant, I watched it and I was like, holy fucking shit, that really caught me off guard. Yeah. Because if you pitch to me the movie, the elevator pitch was this: hey, Richard, want to watch a movie where Timothée Chalamet is a fucking self-obsessed asshole wannabe ping pong world champion? I'd be like, no, that fucking sounds shit. Like, that sounds unbelievable.
Here's the thing, though, that's a great point, though, because here's why I actually know why this movie was compelling. It's actually how people have failed to sell esports. So people only sell esports as it's real sports or we're not nerds, right? No, you've got the wrong thing, dickhead. We are nerds and it isn't sports. Like, I'll give you a quick analogy. There's actually a documentary I'm a huge fan of. It's called something like, I'll look it up, actually. Wait there a second.
Go on, I'll let you get it.
It's called like Masters of something. I'll look it up while I'm doing it. It's basically a documentary about super nerds for the original Tetris. So that might be called like Masters of Order or something. And basically, the whole point of the documentary is it's people where like they're literally playing the original fucking Tetris from
the Ecstasy of Order.
There you go, Ecstasy of Order. And the reason it's mega compelling, though, because again, you'd think yourself, why the fuck, who cares about Tetris? No, because these are the people who dedicated their life to being the best. And it's all about like who can get the highest score, and they're playing each other. And by the way, they're all like unbelievable at Tetris because they played for years. And then there's like, one character's like a mysterious guy. He was like the best when he was 15 on some like fucking wizard shit. Like, he actually won a competition like that in real life, and then he disappeared for years, and he was a legend, and then he came back later and he was still in it. And what you realize when you see these characters is it's not about the window dressing is the Tetris thing. It's more about like, why are people compelled to be great at something, and why would you, in this case, is why it ties into the Marty Supreme, why would you throw your whole life into something where you don't get fame and riches and money? You're only acknowledged by like a small niche group of people and weirdos, but it just becomes your quest and almost like this thing that you're just going for, and there's a purity in it, and actually even the people that you battle with, they have the same sort of drive, and that can be really compelling if you sell it that way, even if it's video games or Tetris or something, or in this case ping pong, because I agree with you. Like, the joke is, I would say, I'm a fan of tennis, like ping pong's just like a stupid kid's version of tennis, or it's just something that a bunch of Asian people like Broadwalk have just gone mental at, and they're just super insane here. But then even that's almost unwatchable if you've ever watched the modern day ping pong. They're too good, mate. You almost can't see the ball. The way they made this compelling was amazing. This was like Rocky or something. This was mega.
Yeah. Oh, I mean,
they made you care about ping pong.
Yeah, I mean, which is crazy. But on top of that, I mean, I think as well, it's a career best turn from Timothée Chalamet. I mean, easily eclipses anything else
Easy,
he's
yeah.
done in his career. Certainly anything I've seen. And then on top of that, it's like the main character is essentially a manipulative, selfish asshole.
Yeah.
Because he's so singular-minded in wanting to prove that he is the best table tennis player. And then for 99% of the movie, you find yourself rooting for someone that is really infantile and wretched. And then with the last, like, 2 minutes of the movie, he would beat. He doesn't win the world championship.
No.
He can't do that.
It's actually almost better he doesn't. Like Rocky, it's better that he doesn't win the fight, isn't it, Richard?
But he does beat the Japanese table tennis player that beat him, and he beats him in his own backyard in front of a crowd.
Even that, you would never think that scene could be that epic. Like, right, he goes on like a promotional tour and plays the guy, but it's not even the world championship. It doesn't matter to the world championship. And then he's in front of the Japanese home crowd. That's it. Mate, that scene's mega. That's a gladiator or something. It's baller, isn't it?
Yeah, because they all love him and they're all chanting real game.
He actually is Rocky IV, isn't it? Like he's turned the crowd. He's so good. But you're loving it. By the way, I'm making it sound cheesy. You're going with it in the movie. You're feeling it. You're loving it. And then,
obviously, he gets back and the child because the opening scene, by the way, one of the most audacious cuts since 2001, is he knocks up a girl in the storage room of his shoe shop that he's working at, and you see the sperm it's like Dick Cam from fucking Into the Void. It's like
that was even what I was thinking. I knew everyone here would get that reference
exactly
when that happened on camera.
And then you see the sperm fertilize the egg, and there's the egg, you see the storm life, and then it turns into a ping pong ball that he's actually hit in a tournament. Best cut since 2001.
Another example of a cut that when you describe it doesn't sound that great.
It's
funny
really good.
Because I haven't been able to watch this movie yet, and so I'm looking forward to it after all.
No, honestly as well. I mean, like, because I won't talk too much because we've got lots of movies to get into and talk about our feelings about. But I will say, first of all, it confirms that. I mean, I understand why the Safdie brothers split up. People can go look into that. It's not exactly a pleasant story, so I won't risk getting demonetized or anything by talking about it here. But the Safdie brothers were like just this unbelievably talented duo. They did Good Time, which is one of the most slept on films that people haven't seen. Obviously, Uncut Gems is when they started getting their attention,
which sadly became like some kind of a meme, but it's a legit film. It's a mad legit film, isn't it?
Yeah, I know. And basically, like, they've now split up, and one brother made The Smashing Machine with The Rock, which didn't make it into the Oscars, but apart from Best Makeup. But honestly, it wasn't a bad film. It's just this is the far superior movie, and I want to say as well, the casting in this film is mega. I mean, because what he's done with the casting, he's casted actors you need in the lead parts to carry it. Timothée Chalamet, as I said, it's a career best turn. Gwyneth Paltrow is great as the washed up actress. She really adds gravitas to a part that could have been throwaway. Odessa Zion as his girlfriend. She's fucking great, and if anything, underused in the movie. But then there's all these weird little appearances from people like Kevin O'Leary. We were talking about that before we went, like the guy from whatever it's called in America.
Shark Tank.
Shark Tank. There you go.
But the joke is the most unlikable villain character on Shark Tank actually does that character, but like kind of a cool way. I'm shocked at like the restraint he has in the performance. It's good. It's actually good for real.
Tyler, the creator, is his friend. A table tennis hustler. Tyler, the creator, is fucking great in this. I was blown away because Abel Ferrara, who I thought was dead, fucking turns up playing a criminal whose dog they essentially kidnapped.
Yes.
Bro.
Even that
so
part, Richard, that's the other thing. You hear the premise, it's a guy who wants to be the best ping pong. No, what's brilliant about this film is, like you said, it's the way they weave all these subplots and they make it so that even though the main arc is like, can he get to the world championship and be the best, the way they sort of like make him have all these obstacles constantly is like a mad compelling. It's a really fun, like cinematic.
This is what the Safdies do so well, and it's why Good Time is one of my favorite movies of the last last like 10 years. It's the endless spiraling of just when you think you've got a handle on something,
Yes.
life is going to absolutely fuck you up. I mean, like, while he's on the run from the police, he goes to a hotel. He's in the hotel. The hotelier says, whatever you do, don't use the shower in that room. He immediately gets into the
this scene
bath.
is mad memorable, isn't it? Yeah.
He immediately gets into the bath, let alone having a shower. The bath collapses through the floor. It lands on top of the.
It's a really shocking shot as well. It looks really realistic. It's fucking
breaks
insane.
his arm. Yeah, it's like just the way life will kick you in the nuts constantly. And the Safdie brothers, they get that in their movies, and they really know. I mean, I remember Uncut Gems when that came out. Everyone was going, "Oh my God, it's like a panic attack."
Yeah.
Well, this is 10 times.
That's what's good, though. That's what's fun about it. I know what you mean. Yeah. By the way, it is like a panic attack. You're feeling mild anxiety.
Cause me extreme anxiety.
Well, listen, that's what this whole movie is wanting.
Yeah.
But essentially, that's also why, Richard, even though I agree, actually, this character's quite immature in the thing, and he's a bit selfish. The thing that I think you fuck with him on, though, is he does also have like a zen way to like surf on that wave, though.
Yes.
Like as long as he gets to each scene, he just thinks about the next moment, mate. He never really, if he ever actually sat down and like Howard and be reflective about the whole thing he's got himself into, you'd be fucked. But he just sort of goes from one scene to another and just operates and just gets away and just sometimes doesn't a little bit, and it's fucking fun. It's just a great ride.
I mean, put it this way, you nailed exactly what I wanted to bring to the table as well. There are movies that are quintessential esports movies. They're not about esports, but if you work in esports, they will give you an extra level of enjoyment.
Definitely watch this. You're going to love it.
100%. It's up there with the Berberian Sound Studio for me, which Berberian Sound Studio is one man's descent into hell because he's trying to get an invoice paid, which is the quintessential esports experience right there, right? But this is the esports movie. It's a guy who he's the best in a niche that hasn't took off yet, but will. It's big in Asia. It's big in Japan. It's it's getting there, and he's the best, and he knows he's the best.
Oh, he's even also selling the esports dream, Richard, like the early 2000s. Like, it's coming up soon. Any minute now. You've got to get in on. Like, I even love that part too.
Yeah.
True. You know so many people like that as well.
Well, I mean, we did it. That's what we did. So I mean, I was staring into this movie, going, was I this much of a selfish asshole?
It's wild, isn't it?
And I think about some of the relationships, let a lot of good partners slip through my fingers, chasing this fucking esports dream, only to get it and realize it weren't shit. And I wish I could have done some other things instead. And the movie has that bittersweet tone at the end. I mean, if you don't think Timothée Chalamet is a good actor, the scene where he looks at his newborn child, the very last scene of the movie, and bursts into tears, he fucking nails that shit. And there's been a lot of debate online. Some people interpret the movie as he's crying because the baby's going to be a liability.
What?
I know. It's
no, I'm with you. I took that
so
as like
ridiculous.
the end of the movie is actually him becoming a man, basically.
Yes,
you
correct.
Know what I mean?
It is.
I totally. That's what I thought was great about
it. Quite explicitly is that.
Yes.
But people are going, oh, look, he's crying because the baby's going to ruin his dream.
Why are people like this?
I know. Why are you even watching this movie, Holmes?
No.
So anyway, look.
By the way, I'll tell you, it's even got an underrated part. It's got good comedy beats too. It's a serious film that has a lot of anxiety. But like, for example, the scene where he actually does get paddled. It's like, you think, this surely isn't going to happen. They're going to stop this any minute just to get his ass paddled. Like, that's hilarious.
No, but I mean, also as well, it's quite clever. It's got some insane, like, parallels as well. Like, so she's basically the person that also grew up and is deeply unsatisfied.
Sure,
the Gwyneth Paltrow character.
She's a sort of kindred spirits,
she's a nice mirror of him. She was like him at one point. It's very heavily implied when she was chasing being the best actress, and he turns up and they have a nice scene. She's treading the boards in the theater. And it's got that Citizen Kane thing as well, because it's like her husband is paying for the show, and it's just a wonderful movie. I mean, I knew it was going to bang. Like I did know it was going to bang. The question was, could I overcome my dislike of the ubiquitous Timothée Chalamet?
Oh, sure.
Within 2 to 3 minutes, you just forget it's him.
Yeah.
He's got deliberate bad skin in the movie. I mean, it's just brilliant. it was easily the film of the year. So
Also,
I mean,
another thing I thought was well done as well is like I've never seen almost as a good an example on camera of how it was possible people could have a massive age gap physical relationship,
Yep.
but then actually when they emotionally talk, show that they are massively
yeah, oh
apart.
sure,
Like,
sure,
that tension is fabulous.
yes, yeah, they nailed that tonally.
Because every time he's
And-
not fucking her and wants her, he's a stupid little kid, Richard. Like you can totally see what
but
she's like with
also
this guy,
usually what they do in cinema is like usually it's the young impressionable girl and the grizzled guy,
Sure.
right? But they've kind of inverted that
Yes.
relationship, that power dynamic here, and it is interesting, and it works for the film crucially. So anyway, just to say to everybody, out of all of the Best Picture nominees, which I'll just read to you, it was One Battle After Another, which was the winner. Bugonia, Frankenstein, which we've already covered. Go watch that
true.
video. Formula One. I stayed up last night to watch Formula One, even though I know I said to you guys you couldn't pay me to watch Formula
You
One.
promised us you weren't going to watch it.
No, I know, but I just wanted to watch all of them, so whatever.
Okay.
Hamnet, which we'll get to, pure Oscar bait. Super disappointed with that. Marty Supreme, The Secret Agent. There you go. That's the one I didn't watch. Sentimental Value, Sinners, and Train Dreams. So, I mean, I actually thought it was a pretty strong year overall. I don't know if you have any thoughts about that. I thought, like, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 movies I actually liked. And at least 4 of them, I think, would have, if 4 of them had won, I wouldn't have cared. So,
my problem is this. Essentially, this is my whole problem with the Oscars. Aside from the fact it's not real, like every industry awards, they're paid for behind the scenes, as far as I can tell. And they do it based on status. It's almost like the Illuminati. Like, right, you get your status that you enter the fucking top level. That's why some people get delayed. That's why some people get in too early. That's why some people
also
get the tribute one
you
at the
know,
end.
you can't tell me that One Battle After Another was Paul Thomas Anderson's best movie. This is an Oscar for his career. It's not better than
That's
Phantom
the problem
Thread.
with
It's
the
not
Oscars.
better than
Here's
There
the
Will
problem.
Be Blood, right?
The implication should be if the Oscars was done right, then the last however many years, I don't know, 80 years of the Oscars would be like among the top 200 films ever made. But that's not even vaguely close.
Yes.
And so another problem they have, it's actually the same problem sports have with the fact everyone tunnels on who the player of the year or the MVP is. It's the implication that all MVPs are identical. Whereas, like, obviously, we all know, like, 1995 has about 7 movies that should be the Oscar. But if you're not the one that won the Oscar, like Heat, you, in theory, aren't as good as a different year that wins the Oscar. So that doesn't even, there's not an equivalence in that sense to me. So my problem is the floor for this year was good, but I didn't think there was like exceptional movies. Even Marty Supreme, I wouldn't have put it as like a fucking 10 out of 10 or something. It was just like I don't know, fucking 7.5 out of 10. It was a good film.
Yeah, for me, it's a little bit higher than that. And I know we disagree. It seems that we're about to disagree intensely on One Battle After Another, which I actually thought wasn't like, I don't hate that one Best Picture. I easily think
I do, because here's why, Richard.
Yeah, go on.
It's like, even though what's funny is most of the sort of online discourse was about Sinners, which I think people don't realize didn't win Best Picture. It just won other awards.
Yes.
And so that was then like the sort of like culture war battleground. The weird thing is, to me, One Battle After Another is the culture war battleground, because as far as I can tell, essentially a vote for this movie, beyond what you like about the movie, I think spiritually a vote for this movie was like a protest against the ICE protests or so much.
Sure.
The sort of thing I despise, because that's going to age so poorly in 30 years. You know what I mean? Like the reason why you did it, because that won't be relevant in a certain amount of years. And also the other thing about that film is, this is where apparently we disagree from the pre-show talk, is it's actually one of the rare movies where, even though, as you can see from that arc, I'm a massive fan of Paul Thomas, and I'll give him pass to do any movie. I'll probably watch any movie till the end of time that he does, even if some of them go bad. Same with Coppola and all the rest of them that hit a certain high. But my issue with this was, certainly technically, if the sound was off, it's a fabulous movie, like mega shot. By the way, one of the things that's bad underrated about Paul Thomas Anderson is he just like the greatest director ever at focusing the shot. He's fucking unbelievable, isn't he? Yeah. Like a throwaway shot for him would be like the best shot in a movie.
This is and this is no different. I mean, it's a really good looking movie.
But it's one of the rare movies ever where things in the movie, like the narrative, sort of took me out a little bit, and I kept thinking, which is normally a bad sign for me. I always say immersion is what actually like gets rid of all the bullshit, and you're just purely in the art. A lot of the elements of the movie, I did sort of start thinking things like, oh, is this type of a person going to take it this way, or are they trying to say this? It got a little bit too like in my head on this movie.
Okay, so I mean, look, here's what I did. I watched this movie. I waited for it to come streaming. But actually, before I monologue, sorry, Monty, you barely spoke. So why don't you chip in and tell us what you thought about this film, and then I'll do my spiel.
So, I mean, I think it's a good movie, but I just don't think it's anywhere close to his best movie. And again, that this is a career Oscar for him more than it about being this movie in particular. I agree with Thorin's take that I think it's going to age somewhat badly just because it is really focused on the politics of the time in a way that isn't eternal. I feel like I know they try and tap into the history of the Weather Underground and the Black Panthers a little bit, but that's like, honestly, knowing about the Weather Underground is pretty niche knowledge at this point in time, and it's only going to become more niche as the years go by. So I question that. But I think it's very funny satire for a lot of it. I did laugh quite heavily about
I think that's
Christmas
also where we're different, because both of you take this on almost all sides of the spectrum of the characters as satire, and it's like half like dark comedy without like a laugh track. You know, that's what's shocking. I actually thought this was just a straight up told story. Like I was genuinely shocked because I thought Paul Thomas Anderson had more like nuance in this, but it seemed like a very black and white story to me.
The problem is for me is that it doesn't really go past. It doesn't go into much depth beyond the satire. I think it does. The characters are almost so cartoonish in their presentation that even though you get these very funny satirical moments in this movie, and like I do think it's like deeply funny when they're in their underground like wood panel layer,
like Illuminati or whatever it is.
All saying Merry Christmas and Hail Saint Nick to each other.
Hail Saint Nick or whatever. Yeah, even Saint Nick is absurd. The idea that's what you say funny. In your underground bunker when no one can hear you. You know,
and they're plotting this guy's death, and they're like obviously incredibly racist, like cartoonishly racist.
Did you actually take that as the director was laughing along with you? Because that's what I mean, Monty. I actually took that scene, unfortunately, and especially the Sean Penn character, as this is what people who hate like white Republicans think they're all like, that they're all just like cartoonishly evil, and that they're just like one-note characters that are like, oh, but if you got me without my gun, I'd be a pussy and break down, and I'm so angry at the world. It's like, and the problem with that is if you've ever met humans, that's just not what people are like. Like, it's very rare. It's very rare. In the same way as it's very rare you ever get some of the comic characters of this. Like, how many people like that exist in real life? Very few. People might have sympathies, but not really like that.
I mean, I do think this film is a commentary on people who chase status via political beliefs. And I do think it satirizes people on both sides of this, because there are the liberal beliefs that are giving you some sort of like rebel status, right? You're against the machine, therefore your values are more noble. Whereas on the far right side,
which seems to largely just be about quoting things you read, as far as I can
exactly
tell.
Right.
Memorizing quotes. If you're getting the
intellectual cred.
Whereas
on the right, these are the people who they'll do anything to get into the halls of power. Yes. They want to be in these secret societies. They want to be in these exclusive, ridiculous rich people clubs. I mean, the funny thing about the Christmas Adventurers Club in this film is that we never really understand what they do. They just have a lot of money and like offices, I guess.
Yes.
And primarily they seem to just live their lives and then concern themselves with who else is members in this club. Do they actually do anything? We don't know.
You don't even get what the grand plan is, because he says at one point, I have a higher purpose, I'm part of this. But
exactly.
But weird. They never tell you, like, is it to have some weird
that's the funny part.
Why they're doing the whole... You never get the explanation of that.
It's them just gassing themselves up that they're so important, and they may have a lot of money, but you don't ever get a sense that they have a significant amount of power. And this is, I take this as a satire of the Bohemian Society in California, which is a very famous conservative group that meets along the Russian River in Northern California, and it's very secretive, and they put on these like goofy plays.
He's on about Bohemian Grove, yeah.
Bohemian Grove, yeah.
Everyone
so it feels like that, and yes, these people have a lot of power, but at the end of the day, their club is just like about drinking and doing weird shit in the woods, which is fine. But I actually thought this movie was quite funny, but still, I don't hate that it won Best Picture, but it was kind of just I was like, oh, that's a pretty good movie, but it certainly wasn't as inspired as PTA's other work.
Do you think the people voting for it as Best Picture also had your read?
No.
I mean, no. I would wager. I mean, keep in mind, right, that there was obviously, with everything that's going on politically in the world right now, this was mostly. There wasn't any grandstanding. There wasn't really any speeches about like ICE or Trump.
By the
or
way, the
any of
most
that
bizarre
stuff.
thing is it's really long and slow, but it's actually all just action and people giving, like I say, quoting things from books and
Yes.
doing very small dialogue, but you don't actually get a lot of like character development, etc.
So I mean, ultimately, I think people spoke with their votes at this Oscar, and this.
This is, by the way, the craziest Oscar bait ever. It's like Thomas Anderson just decided, I want to win an Oscar now, so fuck it. What do I have to do?
I'll say this. What PTA said about this movie was essentially, now that he's 55, he's got a daughter. I think his daughter is like dual heritage. I think his wife's black. And he wanted to, taking the spirit of the novel Vineland by Thomas Pynchon, he wanted to essentially like write apologia to his daughter about how he was part of that generation that did believe in change, and yes, we can. When Obama's elected, he's still young, he's still in his 30s, and we, like, holy shit, America is going to change.
Rare, obviously, yeah, of course.
And ultimately, what ended up, Obama was just another politician. He was just another skin suit wearing politician that progressed America in the direction America has been going probably since JFK had the back of his head lifted off. And ultimately, this movie is essentially the apology for that, of how we were on the cusp of turning America into something else, but we didn't do it. And I've pointed this out to people. People think I'm a psychopath. One battle after another. OBAA. You put an M in that, you've got Obama. What is the movie about? The movie opens with, it's an ICE, it's a entertainment center. They're freeing people. By the way, I love that liberal idea of you just cast Mexicans out into the wild, be free, like they're birds or something. Like, that's so fucking stupid. But whatever. I understand also, if I look at it satirically, that's actually a critique in and of itself. And what happens in the Black Revolution, that speech the character Jungle Pussy gives in the bank while they're robbing a bank to fund their revolutionary activities. She's like saying, look at me, I am a strong black woman, this pussy gives me power, all of this. Who's the first person to die that we see on screen? It's a working class black security guard killed by a black revolutionary. And the critique of the left side is they prioritize performative revolution, spoken revolution over actions. And when it comes to principle, they betray all their principles, which is why the main character is called Perfidia.
Right? True. That's a bit on the nose. But that's also Thomas Pynchon in it.
Perfidia Beverly Hills after this like fake ass swanky neighborhood. But also even Leonardo DiCaprio's character, the thing about him is that he is fundamentally a loser and he's using politics to get laid at the end of the day. Does he believe in any of this? I mean, by the end, the answer is no. He doesn't believe in any of this. He's just trying to find his daughter, but he essentially just he's just a leech. He leeches on to this political movement for meaning. And then when that goes away, we can very easily tell he leeches on to his daughter for meaning, but then he succumbs to drug and alcohol addiction and becomes a total loser. I mean, he is a hollow shell of a human being.
Understand that the Leonardo DiCaprio character, while not explicitly, it is the insert for PTA. Like PTA.
I mean, what you said about his daughters, it makes sense. Yeah.
PTA is saying, I used to be into this idea of politics, and then somewhere along the line, I became jaded and accepted things that I shouldn't have accepted, and I've ultimately betrayed the next generation. I mean, like, the title is quite clever because, one battle after another. Doesn't that just describe what we're all fucking mired in right now? Like, and the how exhausting that is. And also, what's also very interesting. While I agree, there is no one on the left side as cartoonishly evil as Colonel Lockjaw. right? who is basically a man who has dedicated his entire life into maybe one day being in some fucking pseudo Illuminati mafia of the mediocre, losers. It, what I will say is the fact that it is the black revolutionary Perfidia having sex with him to manipulate him so she can stay out of prison, and the interplay you have between the side that professes to be revolutionaries and the government that they claim is oppressing them. I actually think that's pretty smart commentary on where we are right now, rather than where we were in the Obama years. I think right now is the whole Trump paradigm is this. There are a lot of people that profess that Trump is the worst thing to ever happen to America, the worst thing to ever happen to them. And yet, where will they be in a post-Trump world? And the answer is nowhere. Because without the big bad, they've got nothing.
Yes.
The grift is over. And that's essentially, I think, like a little bit of meta commentary that's simmering under the surface in this movie. And one final thing just about the narrative before we get to like performances and the technical aspect of it. I think what it does as well is it humiliates the performative lefties by presenting a character like Sensei. Benicio del Toro in this is fire.
It's the best part of the movie for me.
Yeah, I fucking love him in general. But like, what does he do? He doesn't say anything, keeps a low profile, runs a karate gym.
He's actually very competent.
He's understated. He said he's got, basically what he says, he's like, kind of got a little bit of a Harriet Tubman experience right now, which is just first off a very funny line, and second funny, off, he's like, what do you mean by a little bit of a Harriet Tubman operation or and it's like actually a huge migration into America, right? And that he's hiding all these people, but he is honestly shown as very selfless. Not only that, and disciplined, obviously through the karate, but he also is dealing with the daughter, like Leonardo DiCaprio's daughter in all of this. And you see that he's a pillar of the community as well. He's somebody who's incredibly well respected.
He's the idealized version of what people think of when they say they're revolutionary, because that just is his life, and he's willing to constantly give it up for everyone, etc.
But it's like, there's all these comical moments where, you see like Leonardo DiCaprio baked on the couch, like watching the Battle of Algiers and, paying all this lip service to his former revolutionary past. But Benicio del Toro is someone who he couldn't burn out because he was never over the top with it. He realized how I help my community. And again, if you believe this type of thing, fine. He says, like, I'm going to help the people that might get rounded up. I'm going to hide them. I'm going to help them get false documentation. I'm going to look after my community, and I'm going to do it quietly, and I'm going to adhere to my principles. And everything about him is just so fucking perfect as a counterpoint to all.
He's a contrast to every other revolutionary in the movie, isn't he?
Yeah. And that's just little scenes. Have you had anything to drink today, sir? Yeah, a couple of beers. And he gets out and he's dancing, doing all the sobriety tests. Absolutely perfect equilibrium. That's who he is. And I think again, the movie textually, not subtextually, textually is saying, if you actually want to help your communities, you don't do it by getting online and gassing yourself up and talking about how you're like the fucking, you
don't draw a target.
You're the resistance.
Yeah, exactly.
You're the hashtag resistance. You just shut the fuck up and you help people when they need help. And you do it quietly.
Obvious problem there being, Richard, it's easy to say something or do a tweet. To actually do something actually requires effort and committing your life to it like this.
So, I mean, look, I'll tell you what I did, and I'll tell you this is how I experienced the movie, because you might be where I was. I watched the movie. It came to streaming. I watched it the day it came out. And I had the voice of the culture war in my brain when I watched this.
That's my problem.
And I was like, look what they're doing. Look at Colonel Lockjaw. Look at the comically
everything's
evil
like, where
white
do they mean
supremacists.
this is supposed to be his person? Is that supposed to be this? But are they referencing this? Yeah, there's a lot of that going on.
And I watched it, and I took a deep breath, and I thought, man, I fucking hate that the internet spoils everything to the point where I'm alone in a room I'm watching a movie and I cannot even just enjoy this movie.
It's
as
why
a
I
movie.
hadn't watched the movie until we said we were going to do this
Yeah.
episode, because I saw all the shitstorm online. I was like, I
Yeah.
might have to wait like 2 years and wait till that's gone so I can just fucking get into this clean, you know.
So here's what I did. One battle after another. I rolled up my sleeves and I did one viewing after another. I watched it again immediately.
Interesting,
Afterwards. And the second time, the voices had dissipated a little bit. And I thought, okay, I actually can now see some of the other stuff that's happening around. It was definitely, I thought it was much better on the second viewing for these reasons. And then, you know what I did? I woke up the next day, had a cup of coffee, did my morning routine, answered a few emails, and I thought, I'm going to watch it again. Fuck it. Roll the dice. So I watched it 3 times in 2 days. And on the third viewing, it just coalesced with me. I just understood that, yes, look, it's a Hollywood movie by a flaming liberal. So it is going to be one side is evil, the other side is hypocritical, and
But it's necessary or some shit like
well,
that.
no, not even that. It's hypocritical and it cozies up to evil when it's convenient.
Oh, okay.
And that's essentially what the movie is saying. And that's about as good. You're not going to get a movie that, like, let's look into the thoughts and feelings of Republicans. It's not, Hollywood ain't going to make that movie.
Yeah,
right?
sure.
Right? But what this movie does, for the first time in a long time, it is a valid critique of leftist politics since the Obama years. And it's one for me that definitely resonates. If you were around at that time, and you saw all the Obama posters and the yes, we can and the change. And I'll never forget where everyone remembers where you were. It's like one of those historic moments. Where were you when Obama got elected? Because remember when the primary started, he was nowhere.
Oh,
he really came through, and ultimately the Democrat Party went behind him. We got a black president. And we were told in that moment, that's it. That's the end of divisive politics. And
it's going to heal the racial divide, all that shit.
I mean, I was in my senior year of college, and there was like a party on my college campus on election night.
No, but dude, people were partying in the UK. It was a big fucking deal. But then what you realize is permanent Washington is a thing. And Barack Obama, none of it matters. It's like, look, again, I won't derail an episode about the Oscars by getting into what's going on in the world right now. But if you're not black-pilled on politics at this point, like, what's it going to take? You have the Democrats, the party of the working class, shutting down government, harming working class people actively, where TSA people, who I know they're not the most sympathetic of characters, but they're not getting paid and they're really struggling.
And haven't been for months.
Meanwhile, the party that promised you no more wars has bombed. What are we on? Like 8 countries now? We're sucking dictators out of South American countries.
Even literally the one, remember, where this is always the thing that's aged badly with Trump is he already tweeted 10 years ago about all the Iran war and stuff.
I know.
He literally
said, like, if Barack Obama gets in, he's going to go to war with Iran and all this.
Exactly.
Stuff. That was back during that time. So it's like, you have to understand that there's something at play which is beyond the artifice of politics. And I think this movie is trying to tap into that. Whether it does successfully or not, that's up to you.
You guys know that sleep is incredibly important to your energy and efficiency, and I've found that by using my Manta Pro sleep mask, I sleep better basically every night. I use this thing daily, guys. It's also great for naps if you want to take a nap in the afternoon. It has 100% blackout capability. I really need it to be dark to go to sleep, so this thing works amazingly for me. Not even a ray of sunlight or artificial light gets underneath these eye cups. They're also fully adjustable via Velcro, so you can move them on the mask to exactly wherever suits your face. It's also insanely breathable. This is the Manta Pro mask. As you can see, it has a lot of perforations along this memory foam in order for it to breathe nicely, and it has cooling gel on the opposite side so that you will never get hot or sweaty. I have not had any problems with that in the entire year or so now I've been using the Manta sleep mask. Furthermore, it's fully machine washable. All you have to do is use the bag that comes along with it, pop it in there, put it in your washing machine, and lay it flat to dry. It's extremely easy. And you can get the Pro mask like I have, but they have so many different options. They have silk masks. They have sound masks that have built-in Bluetooth headphones so that you can listen to maybe your favorite podcast like Foreplay here while you're going to sleep, or other shows on the LFN network, or calming music, whatever you like. Not only that, they have steam masks where you microwave the eye cups and it can provide soothing heat on your eyes before you go to sleep. So many different options over at mantasleep.com. They've been an amazing sponsor for us, and the best way to support us here at LFN is to support our sponsors. So you guys can use code LFN to unlock 10% off your purchase, anything you want, at mantasleep.com. That's code LFN to unlock 10% off your purchase at mantasleep.com. And thank you very much to Manta for sponsoring our show.
This is the problem, Richard. I will ask you this question then. I sort of asked it earlier, but I'm sorry, I don't think that the reason it won the Oscar is people saw it as a brilliant satire of leftist thinking.
Of course not. No, it's the Oscars.
I actually think let me spin a narrative for you about this movie. Right. First of all, I think the most absurdly unrealistic, and I get this is a Pynchon novel, so it's irreverent and parts of it are silly and archetypal and not real. It's not a real story in that sense. One of the least believable parts of the plot, and it's a key mechanism, is that, believe it or not, because they are the good guys, like, first of all, the revolutionaries are the people escaping from the Matrix to Zion. They are the Rebel Alliance in Star Wars. And so as a result, because the baddies are comically evil, which also has to mean, for some reason, incompetent, I've always thought that actually shows a weakness in you as a person. If every one of your enemies has no competence, so I have people that I hate but are mega what they do. They're evil, but they're really good at it. But if you have to watch them, that's already a crazy straw man. But this is the worst part. The way that the left keeps winning and getting away with it in this movie is they're the ones that have all the double agents, Richard. Right? That's the opposite of reality. In reality, it's the other way around. You would have the agent saboteurs, which you see one in this movie. You would have the people in their group who would turn on them and set them on. But instead, at every key point in the movie, there's magically a character who looks like he's on the bad side, who then is on some Andor shit, I'll go this way quickly and out the back door. What? Every time you're in a jam, you get out of it like that. I actually think that's why people did take this movie, Richard, as this is fight the good fight. This is the spirit of our times. You too can protest ICE and be a hero like these people, even if they're stupid and all the rest of it. They're the only good characters in the movie to some degree.
I don't know necessarily if I agree with all of that. I think
I feel like if
there's definitely
if
Deus Ex Machinas in the movie.
If they knew what you said, they wouldn't vote for it as movie.
No. Well, I now put it this way, okay, now we're dovetailing into something else. So there was a movie that was snubbed this Oscars, which was also another lefty wet dream of a movie, and it was Eddington. I'm very surprised that movie got snubbed. Also a movie, I did the exact same thing I did with the PTA movie. Right. I watched it the first time. I was like, oh, it's doing that thing where it's lefties are corrupt, but only corrupt to the point of annoyance and hypocrisy, but the rightoids are murderers, right? So I was like, the culture war, it's in my ears. So I watched it again, and then I watched it again, and then I just realized it's just another Ari Aster masterclass, just a hilarious comedy. So, but what's interesting is that is probably more in line with a movie that I think you would despise for the reasons that you're talking about here. Whereas I think with this, ultimately, I think the critique of the lefty side, it goes about as far as you could probably go in a mainstream Hollywood movie. Although I definitely agree with you. I don't think the Academy is voting for this movie that it's a brilliant biting satire about how lefties sold the promise of a new hope down the fucking river. I don't think people are viewing it that way. I think they're literally going, ice bad, press X for PTA. I think that's...
It's like this comment if you're against
also,
Trump gang.
I can't believe PTA hasn't won an Oscar yet because
also that.
It's also a good excuse to give him one. Yeah, of course.
And honestly, if you think about PTA, probably the one he most deserved to win it for was There Will Be Blood, right? And he lost to No Country for Old Men. That's a fucking tough year, right?
I mean, that's what can you do? You can't say anything about that. You can't. You just have to take that one on the chin. That's how that goes.
By the way, one last question then. If we're still maintaining this angle that's... by the way, you are actually making some good points here. But one problem I have is this, which is, just explain for me, what are we doing with the film, with the scene between the Lockjaw character and his daughter where she kills him? Right, so let's just explain a second. He is, at a minimum, even the way the movie's set up, you have to accept he is a hyper-competent military man, a soldier, who has his own war against people. And in fact, he's killed many people. He's done. It's implied like he's a super rock addict. By the way, Sean Penn kills it. Also, actually, even though I didn't like his character, I thought Sean Penn did a great job, even though, actually,
easy
the joke is,
perfect
Sean Penn is a perfect example of why actors are so powerful. I even despise him as a real-life human. I think he's a retard. But I'll tell you what, he's a fucking brilliant actor, though, which means he's not acting as himself. So I love that.
Fair enough.
In that scene, that's why I took it as a very straight film, Richard, because the ending of this movie is this guy's daughter, who's just someone's daughter and has been living essentially undercover, but isn't a trained revolutionary. She just beats him with a pistol because magical black girl must win the movie. Like, I don't know what that scene is, Paul. What is that scene?
Wait, so but it's not. It's not him. It's because he's already dead off screen, right? It's the other guy.
Wait a second, whatever. Oh yeah, maybe I confused those two.
It's the other guy.
The Christmas Adventure.
Oh yeah, you're right. Actually,
yes. It's the other guy. So I mean, look, is there like an element of girl bossery to the character?
I'm not an expert about guns, but you'd have to be really skilled with a pistol to shoot someone from that far away like that.
Yeah, but I mean, it's kind of also implied.
I think the bigger crime is her being a teenager and being so calm after being.
Oh, it's nonsense. Bro, like I say, she has more fucking emotional temperament control than a military guy like the Sean Penn guy. Give me a break. What's a teenage girl? What are we even doing here? What are we doing here?
I mean, if
she's even moody with her own father, but then she's like some sniper, and now I'm like,
but I just think it's hilarious that she maintains this emotional composure when she literally gets kidnapped by the military while she's on the run. Then she gets tied up in a mission, and then,
by the way, notice she's never afraid for a single second, Monty. She's never actually just has a human reaction,
interrogated by a man who turns out to be her father through a DNA test in that room, escapes, and then has the forethought to know she's being chased. Well, first off, they're going to take her to kill her, and she somehow escapes from that scenario.
Because Monty, she's Princess Leia. She's Princess Leia. The Rebel Alliance, bro. She's going to kill Vader. What do you think?
Gets a car, drives up, manages to figure out she's being tailed, and then hide the car at the top of a hill in a very smart tactical maneuver to get the car behind her to run into it. And then, like you say, just takes this guy out with a pistol. It is absurd.
I just didn't think that scene was necessary. You could have told the story without that,
I mean, like, for me, obviously, because PTA has explicitly stated he wrote this movie for his daughter, and obviously, like, Leonardo DiCaprio is an insert for him. Chase Infinity's character, Willa, is an insert for his daughter, but also, like, the broad message of the movie is that the next generation, the one that is coming after the Obama years, the wink wink revolutionaries, they have to have a degree of like competence, and they and like it literally, the movie ends with her like going out to a fucking protest and him saying like, be careful, and she's like, no, I won't. And then that's the end of the movie. So it's almost like a call to arms. Again, I didn't hate it, because when you're adapting Pynchon, it's always
it's
real. It's all of his books are satirical and surreal, but so it's like, are you going to see things that make no sense? I mean, for me, it's like if you make an argument about, oh well, Willa's like way too competent for a teenage girl. Like, I mean, look, best will in the world, Colonel Lockjaw is way too competent for a military man. Like, this guy's unkillable. He's like the fucking Terminator. You have to gas this.
That's another problem, by the way. I actually also think that part sucks, where he just doesn't die in the crash, and then he's just walking away like the T-1000, like you say. Like, give me a break.
I actually love the part, though, that he gets what he thinks he wants. And by the way, keep in mind, all of his dreams has been to be part of the Christmas Adventurers Club. Sure. And what does he actually get? It's a shit little corner office. Like, it's not even overlooking. It's not even like overlooking like Hollywood or anything. It's just like some tiny little shitty town. And they're like, we've got offices all over America, Mr. Lockjaw, you know, and then he just sits in there and they just pump the room full of gas and kill him. I like couldn't believe that. I was like, wait, what? It's also like, again, the central messaging is you can be cartoonishly evil in service of a hierarchy that doesn't respect you. And
Sure.
in that sense, you know, like we also know that's true. We know that there are people above or peripheral to the government that you can serve them, get them elected, proselytize, promote their message. You are ultimately expendable. Like,
yeah, but in his case, so Richard, like it still aligns with the idea they're just evil racists. That's why he has to be fucked over because he has a black daughter, right? I actually think, in a weird way, the movie would have been better if that's the detail you added. Is that even he turns out to be like the revolutionary? Where it's like the people above him aren't the real revolutionaries. Like, as in their revolution would be like an ethno state, wouldn't it? Like, if you'd have made it that at the top when he gets there, they're just like, no, we just like being rich and having the status we're in. We don't want to rock the boat. Let's keep it as it is. I think that would have been a more clever ending for him. That even his quest was failed, and he thought there was some pure group of people who would fulfill his ideal, but it was just him. In the same way as there's one or two of the revolutionaries actually believe the shit, and the rest are just doing it to have like friends and a girlfriend and a daughter and shit.
Here's the thing, though. I whether or not I'm going too far into this reading, I don't think Colonel Lockjaw is like a dyed-in-the-wool racist in the same way the Christmas Adventurers Club members are.
I mean, he couldn't be in the sense that he clearly was into black women. That just is a thing, isn't it?
No, but
by the way, in a weird way, that part could have, even though that was a very brief part at the beginning, I also think if they'd have played with that more, Richard, that's it. Even though I despised the Tiana Taylor actress, I thought she was terrible, this rapper that plays the opening character, the woman who's the mother, I actually thought that seemed interesting. Like, wait a minute, but there might be a thing in this movie where they've got a weird, like, romantic dynamic or sexual dynamic, but then they also are these distinct people all of the back. You could have done something interesting with that, but that was just like...
Well, you know, I think it's interesting that ultimately Colonel Lockjaw is a mirror to Leonardo DiCaprio's character. Leonardo DiCaprio's in the backseat of a car screaming, I love black girls, before impregnating Tiana Taylor, or rather before having sex with Tiana Taylor. And then we also cut to Sean Penn looking at her like through binoculars, absolutely entranced with her. And then first opportunity he gets, he impregnates her. With the daughter that Leonardo DiCaprio
it's the fact
raises.
that he gets turned on by his sexual humiliation at
her
hands, and then he becomes obsessed with her.
Yeah, sure. So anyway, because like we probably took up half the fucking episode just talking about this film. I think definitely I don't hate that it won Picture of the Year. I think probably some of the stuff in it might age bad based in terms of the more explicit references to modern day politics. Although what I do hope is when we enter a post-Trump world, which will be soon, I honestly hope people would just look back at the last like 10, 12 years as deeply stupid, kind of like the Bush years. You know, and we'll just move on to another. We'll be living in another deeply stupid time, but we'll look back at this period as deeply stupid, and maybe all of that context will be removed.
I mean, one thing about
movies.
this movie that if people got the satire, I'd be with you. It could exist for longer. Is this? I'll tell you the worst thing about the last era of politics, in the Trump era. It actually wasn't even Trump being in office. It was the middle portion with Biden, where all the people my entire life who themselves were on the revolutionary side or have very deep political leftist opinions, their whole position my entire life was all government is corrupt, including Democrats, including all the power structure, every president selected, and those people. Because temporarily in the wrestling narrative, Trump was the antagonist now out of office. They had to suddenly be like, double plus good, I support the government. Biden is the man. Like, holy fuck. That was one of the craziest performative. That aged so poorly. Just like the other thing that won't make sense in 20 years is why they did treat Donald Trump like the 2 minutes of hate every day. Like they woke up and he was Adolf Hitler.
Yeah,
it's the same thing they do on the other side with Putin. Like he's the enemy for his region. Each region has this like ultimate wrestling heel that your job is just to go, fuck you, you're the one to blame for everything. But it's going to look so bad in 20 years, bro, when you just look. And it won't even be, they act like he was some momentous change. He's just a tiny blip on a radar, bro, of a line that keeps going. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
As you say, he even carries on bloody policies of Democrat presidents from before. The whole thing's such a ridiculous, like what's so sad is, I like this movie. It's so performative. It's like, you don't even believe that. You're just using that as the excuse for why you're mad you woke on the wrong side of bed, or some boyfriend left you, or fucking some boss was a dickhead to you, and you just used that as your, like, way to vent it all. You know?
I also do think as well, unfortunately, some people are essentially...
Because don't you think this movie was cathartic
co-opted.
for people like that? I think they were fucking loving that aspect.
Maybe. I think if anything, I think overall what PTA was wanting to do, I don't think he wants you to experience catharsis with the movie. I think if anything, he's probably trying to...
No, I'm saying what people took from it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Again, I don't know the PTA angle. I don't really look down on PTA for this, but I
No,
just feel
no,
like it's one of those movies where I feel like the people who liked it the most didn't understand the movie at all.
Yeah. I mean, many such cases. You know?
Sure.
So, but yeah, I think ultimately, I think probably, like I say, once we get out of the current zeitgeist, you probably look back on this movie and maybe parts of it might seem a bit silly, but ultimately, I think if anything, it'll probably age better. I think there'll be parts of this movie that, if you can look at it with a fresh pair of eyes, 10 years down the road, I think it'll probably look a lot better. Which movie do you want to talk about next? Which ones have you seen?
I want to talk about...
Because actually, one thing I thought we could briefly touch on, because it doesn't appear that it was in the nominees, is, I'm not a massive fan of it, but I know you are. Why was the weapons film not nominated for Best Picture?
Let me just check. Did it fall within
as far
this
as I can
year?
tell, it wasn't. Like all the others seem to be.
It
did because she won Best Supporting Actress.
So. Honestly, I just think horror's not necessarily fashionable, and you had your big budget horror movies, you had your Sinners, and you had Frankenstein. Now, Weapons was also up there as like film of the year for me. I think it's actually a really good companion piece to One Battle After Another and Eddington. Okay. Weapons for me is really about the culture war as well. And it's like, you look at how every institution in that movie is essentially like, weaponized. It's literally talking about what it is to, like, invite something into your life that then can potentially do you nothing but harm and cause nothing but misery. And that's essentially what people do every day when they log on to the internet. I really liked Weapons.
I have a strange reaction to that movie because I don't dislike it, but my problem with the movie is, funnily enough, it actually reminds me a bit of... Fuck, I'm trying to think. The problem is I had to wake up early and watch all these movies, so I have a really bad memory today. I'm trying to think what other film I'm thinking of. Fuck, maybe it'll come to me.
Yeah,
there was another movie where it's one of those ones where, like, it feels like it's all three movies in one. This feels like two movies in one. The first half, the mystery, is quite interesting. I was like, where's this going? The second half, which is just about this mad witch and they're trying to stop her, like a horror movie. I thought that was less interesting, personally.
Sure, I think, again, though, it's like, obviously, a lot of people struggle to watch movies, and a lot of people like just take Weapons literally. Like, again, they don't look at it like it's all one big metaphor. It's all allegory. It's not like there's a witch and she can snap sticks and make people beat people up to beat them to death.
Oh, maybe it was Barbarian I was thinking of. Another one where it feels like there's like
same director.
Two movies put into one.
Same director.
That makes sense.
So that's
his style.
That's his style. Yeah. Right. But I mean, like, I'm glad Amy Madigan got Best Supporting Actress, because first of all, like, this was a big year for horror. Just in terms of the Oscars, horror's usually overlooked in the Oscars. Very hard if you act in a horror movie to get an Oscar for it. We had 2 this year, which is like, fucking what? That's like insane. The fact that
that's why I asked about Weapons, because to me that's way better than Sinners. I'm not even a massive hater.
I agree.
I thought Weapons is a better horror movie.
Well, tell you what, let's segue into Sinners. Let's get the Sinners talk out.
Right. Yeah, I want to spice this up, because you guys talk about. Like I said, I haven't seen Marty Supreme yet. It's not out. It's coming out next month on HBO, and I will watch it. But until that happens, I was surprised that Michael B. Jordan won Best Actor, because for me, I think he is a very good actor. I don't think this is a particularly good performance by him as an actor. No. Not that he's bad, but everybody will say, well, he played 2 twins in this movie. However, he played both characters more or
I
less
know.
exactly the same.
I know.
Like,
The joke is they have to have different colour hats on, Monty.
Yeah.
That's how not an remember, by the way, it's not like this never happened. If anyone wants to see an example, that's real, by the way. That's for real how stupid this movie is. That's how they divide them. If you want, that's essentially Luigi and Mario or something like. If you want to ever see an example of an actor playing two characters that's masterful, look up the classic Jeremy Irons in fucking Dead Ringers.
Dead Ringers, or even what we did on this channel, adaptation with Nicolas Cage.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
We did that, but either
Yeah.
Dead Ringers or adaptation. If you're looking at characters who play twins,
absolutely.
but and like I just don't
Oh my
him.
God.
There's just not enough difference between his two characters for me to believe that this guy should win Best Actor. Like that's just it.
I mean, look, obviously, like Timothée Chalamet's performance beat the brakes off Michael B. Jordan in Sinners, and
Yes.
I look, I'm gonna say something, and I just don't want it to be like controversial, but it's probably gonna be controversial. I just think they took one look. Right, Michael B. Jordan, by the way, is great. I love him. I've loved him since The Wire. You just knew he had something about him. You knew he was going to be a big star. But the type of movie he makes isn't going to win Oscars 99 times out of 100. He does superhero movies.
Yeah.
He does action movies.
I mean, he's good in Creed. You know, he's some good films. Yeah.
And
I mean,
like,
he was the best part of Black Panther, in my opinion.
Easily. By the way,
Everybody,
even though that's another movie which was Oscar bait and everyone loved the mate, I thought he was way better than I forget the name
absolutely.
of the Stedman or whatever, the guy who played the main character.
And obviously, this is Sinners is the director of Black Panther. He wasted no opportunity to go get his man again and do a movie with him. I just think the opportunity to give Michael B. Jordan an Oscar is probably limited over the course of his career.
Oh, I see what you mean, right?
Because ultimately, how close is he going to get to true transcendence as an
Put it this way,
actor
I know
if
what you
he's in-
mean.
Like Creed is never going to get you.
No. When we complain about them giving the Oscar to the right person but in the wrong year,
exactly.
that's why they do it though, Monty, because they know that even like if you're someone like Scorsese, they know as long as you're not dead and you keep, eventually they're going to get the year where they're going to be able to do it. So that's more like, right, pencil him in. We'll give him it later. Leonardo DiCaprio, they gave him it for one of his most mid movies ever, but the whole point was, right, tell you what, you're still making great movies. Stick around, basically. Wait, and at the end we'll give you it. Like, I know what you mean, Richard. In this case, they had to do it early because he's probably never going to make a movie that's like that. He's never going to make a Marty Supreme.
Well,
or at least that. I hope he would, but I doubt he will. Sadly, he seems quite cynical.
I mean, like
it's
it's possible. Like for me, Michael B. Jordan's trajectory feels very similar to Jamie Foxx. And I think Jamie Foxx has shown you can come from I'm Willie Beeman in fucking Any Given Sunday, and when he did Ray, for instance, and he went full method, and he was literally spending his entire time blind, like literally fucking with his eyes closed for like fucking months, that's insane, and he got a little taste of what it is to put something up on screen that is transcendent. Now, when you have transformed into somebody else, he got a lot of plaudits for that. And then obviously since
obviously
then,
bagging in Collateral.
Yes. Well, I mean, and since then, you just are like, oh, wow, Jamie Foxx is a good actor.
Yeah.
But you wouldn't have said that at the start of his career. And it's similar with Michael B. Jordan. Like Michael B. Jordan, you watch him in like the Creed movies, you watch him as Killmonger, and you go, oh, this guy's got something. Like he's magnetic on the screen. But this is Cape Slop or a boxing film.
Yes.
And Sinners for me is the first movie that's really like propelled him into doing something complicated. So
is that in a way he actually is also paralleling Timothée Chalamet then in that sense?
Yes, also a good parallel. I just think Sinners didn't quite get there for me. Like I think first of all, I want horror movies to be good and get Oscar accolades,
course,
obviously, right? Like it's my favorite genre of film. It's the one that's most underserved by the Academy. But I watched Sinners after being told like rave reviews, 10 out of 10. Michael B. Jordan.
I thought it was very mid.
Yeah, it's kind of my feelings. That's kind of where I've ended on it after like watching it twice. But like Michael B. Jordan is very good in the movie. He is not Oscar. It's not what I associate. Like Oscar level for me is like Robert De Niro in Raging Bull. Like you have to make me forget I'm watching you. And I didn't. I saw Michael B. Jordan.
I also think
you know.
part of that is the fault of the writing and directing, which is that, first off, the writing for the twins doesn't differentiate them very much in the first place. There isn't really in the words a different voice between the characters, which is a problem with the writing of the movie.
Mhm.
But also because Ryan Coogler is just like, Michael B. Jordan's a very good looking guy, but the camera is just like molesting him at all times. It's like, how many long, cool shots of the brothers like passing each other cigarettes can we do in this movie while they lean against the car? Like it's absurd. And that's why it feels really fake at times, his performance, because of the way the movie is shot, because it's shot in a way to be obsessed with him.
Oh, I totally don't disagree. Like, that's spot on for me. In fact, the things that I enjoyed more about the movie, it was almost the supporting cast. Like that like, because it was just a given that Michael B. Jordan was going to get up to Michael B. Jordan's level, and like you say, you know, he's playing twins. He's on camera all the time. If he's not in one scene, his twin is in the other scene. So it's like it's like Poochie from The Simpsons. You know, when Poochie's not on camera, everyone else has to be asking, "Where's Poochie?" You know what I mean? It was like that, and that's fine, because, by the way, he is magnetic. He is an unbelievably good-looking man, unbelievably built, well put together. Like and like, when people have that it factor, and he's got that.
Very likable.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And super likable guy. But you want to know who I loved in this movie? Well, first of all, shout out to my man Delroy Lindo. Like, the fucking...
he was great.
The man of a million parts. Like, Delroy Lindo was fucking sick in this movie. Like, where was his nom, by the way?
He did get nominated.
Did he get nominated?
Yeah.
Oh, shit, yeah, you're right.
Supporting actor.
Yeah, because I remember as well, he was at the other thing with the Tourette scandal.
Yeah, which is well-deserved, by the way. I mean, his part is fantastic in this.
So, yeah, Delroy Lindo getting nominated for Best Supporting Actor is, like, great for him. I know he didn't win it because, obviously, it was Sean Penn and he was mega. We've already talked about that. But, yeah, Delroy Lindo was great in this film. Then you have, more so than Jack O'Connell, which, by the way, I'm kind of a bit sus on Jack O'Connell, because everyone's telling me what a great actor he is. He's Irish.
He's a bit mid in Bourne Temple, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think he's Irish, but he can't even do an Irish accent. So I don't even know how I feel about that. But anyway, like, I mean, he was okay in this, and he was okay in the Bourne Temple. But like, I'm a little bit like, yeah, he was in that Ferrari movie as well. But you know, he was all right. But I couldn't believe this. So her name is Hailee Steinfeld.
Yeah.
Steinfeld. And I was like watching her, and I was going, wow, she's great. You know, blah, blah.
That's the one who dates fucking Josh Allen from the Bills.
She's married to him.
Am I wrong on that?
Right.
Yeah. Or is it actually just...
Yeah, but she was honestly, she's been great for her whole career. I mean, I was blown away by her in True Grit.
This is what I couldn't believe, Monty. I didn't know it was the same chick.
Oh, yeah.
Because she was like,
by the way, for our audience,
she does...
She's the voice of Vi in Arcane too, and she's really good. I
wouldn't say
that.
That's just
also
wouldn't know about that. But because she was so good in True Grit, and I remember thinking to myself for like years, like, what's she doing now? You know, but never enough to like care about looking it up.
Oh, she became a singer as well. She's very talented.
Yeah, so it's like she just wasn't in anything I'd watched for years, because she was doing like teen movies and stuff, and then all of a sudden she like rocked up in like Sinners. And I was like, who the fuck is this? No way. Couldn't believe it. She was great. Like another one.
She's also, for those, I mean, she's done some really good voice acting work. She's in both of the Spider-Verse movies as Gwen Stacy. She's great in that too.
Yep. And then also as well, and this is just a little hipster thing for me, Saul Williams was in this movie. And Saul Williams is like, he's like kind of a beat poet. A guy. He did like a bunch of albums. One title is hilarious, but I can't say it.
Yeah.
But also Amethyst Rockstar is great, and he also did a collaboration with 9 Inch Nails.
Of course.
So fucking super happy to see him in the movie, especially a movie that is ostensibly
He's
about
also
the power
kind
of
of
music.
artist, by the way, that everyone who loved one, unironically loved One Bottle for Another, would think's awesome, because his style is almost like that poetry slam style, isn't it? Like,
it is,
and then they said to us that we were the slaves, but who really were the slaves? And your white men said it's all that, but he's really good at it. To be fair, he's very good at it.
He's fucking sick. sick, bro.
He's really talented.
Yeah, he's super good, and he's been doing it for ages. He's in his 50s now. But anyway, so I love the casting.
Which, by the way, we didn't even address. That's
Yeah.
even another thing I will say, to be fair, but One Battle for Another is better now I think about it. It does also show that if you actually made a movie that was just purely like, this is great, you would never make them be old and have them just live a normal life and be, like, say, high on the couch and be a dickhead. If anything, it shows that only works as there's some idealized fantasy version that you're in the midst of the battle and you're young and everyone's getting pussy and everyone's fighting the man. But then what actually happens when you have to grow up? What if you do what if you don't go to prison? What if you didn't get killed? What if you had to actually have a family life and be like a member of society? Like, actually, it shows you be a fucking loser.
Yeah, exactly. It's
that part was legit.
Turns out that shit's hard, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
but yeah. Anyway, so I mean, I thought the film. I'm like you, Monty. I thought the film was mid. It just, like, I've described it as blaxploitation, Dusk Till Dawn on previous episodes.
Yeah,
and Quentin Tarantino should have had an Oscar for Best Writer. And
that's also why, unfortunately, when it gets involved in the culture war, and they're having to tell me, like Black Panther, this is a 10 out of 10. If you don't think so, you're racist, right? From Dusk Till Dawn is better, and I don't know anyone like me who has affection for it, whoever thought it was like a movie should win an Oscar. Like, what are you talking about? It's not even that type of a movie, you moron. I mean, so it's like, if this is your best movie, it's the other way around. You have the bigotry and low expectations, mate. Same as when people gave Black Panther the 100% critic rating. It's like, we're not even doing movie reviews anymore. This is stupid. The Godfather's probably not even 100 out of 100, you fucking idiot. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I'll say that there were aspects to this that definitely elevated it, even though I don't necessarily thought they landed particularly well. Like the whole thing with music and like being through the year, like that opening narration of like there are special troubadours.
Yeah, the thing is, they just don't do enough with that or explain it. Like, my main problem with this is they open with that narration and you talk about this magical music power that can pierce the veil between life and death, and then we get this scene where we get the time montage of all of these black musical artists through history.
Which, by the way, that scene is straight fire. It's really well done. It is really well done.
Really well shot, but they don't do anything with it.
No, I agree.
That's what's hilarious. They build it as this like it's like a secret energy, and then the joke is cut later to say it's people just twerking and shit, bro. Like, for real? This is in the movie. It's mental. It's just like, what are we doing here? What is this?
But it's like I figured they were building this up to something at the end, and the vampires are like, we want him for his magic music powers.
Oh, I see what you mean.
But then they're like, oh, we don't. And then at the end, it doesn't go the power doesn't go anywhere or do anything.
Yes.
Okay.
So I mean, like,
so you thought it was on some like Robert Johnson shit where he's like supernatural element and like this.
I just wanted it to do something.
I know what you mean.
Well, I mean that's the whole premise is they're there for his brother that can play his cousin or whatever that can play like
that's what I'm saying.
So well, yeah.
But they say that, but then nothing happens after that point. They say we're here for you and your magic music.
It just turns into the titty twister, and then the movie ends. Basically, like what happened. So I mean, like there are some interesting aspects of this. If anything, I would say, and this is maybe a controversial take, I think Ryan Coogler, if anything, was like a bit reserved with some of the subtext. Like there's one scene or like a kind of like not one scene, but like a B storyline that references the Ku Klux Klan in it. And obviously they, I know it's not as like, I thought, oh, okay, it's going to go there. Let's see where it doesn't really go there. It just doesn't really go there. It doesn't really like, there's definitely subtext at play, but the movie is more interested in the text than the subtext, I think. I think that's fair to say, right?
I also don't know why people are holding up Ryan Coogler as some like amazing director. He's just like an above average director. By the way, he's not bad. He's just an above average director.
I mean, I will say, if you ever want to talk about a director that might have peaked with his first film, it could be him, because Fruitvale Station is really good and heartbreaking. And then after that, it's like he makes the Creed movies and Black Panther. And he also made the awful sequel to Black Panther, the one that without Chadwick in it. So yeah, but clearly talented. I think you want to take him out of this big studio movie thing before he gets spoiled, because there was a lot of CGI in this movie that was a bit ropey, and it had that superhero feel. Like, basically, if this was like, okay, imagine this. It's not set in the past. The music storyline is taken out, and instead of there being Michael B. Jordan as Smoke and Stack, Michael B. Jordan is a guy called Blade, right?
Okay.
Right? Now, it's just a Blade movie.
I'm into this.
Yeah,
By the way, if you want to get really triggered,
You sold me.
if you want to get really triggered, you know they're planning on remaking Blade and
Yeah, they are.
rebooting it.
Yeah.
Ryan Coogler himself is doing it, I believe.
Yes. Yeah. It might
And
be
they
him.
even said something mental. Listen to this, Monty. I'd have to get the quote, but the quote was something like, "No one wants to see Blade in, like, you know, kung fu gear, do not." Essentially, like, everything you like about Blade, they said they're not going to do with it.
Yeah.
Something. I'll have to look up what the quote is. Some
It
mad
is
quote.
supposed to star Mahershala Ali, which is a good sign.
It was right. I mean, it's been cancelled so many times. I have no idea where the project is right now. But what I will say is, if this is like the blueprint of what a Blade movie might look like, all right, you've got my attention, Mr. Coogler. But I mean, ultimately, this is like a 6.5.
Oh, here's the quote.
Movie.
The quote about the new Blade is, "We didn't want to simply put a leather outfit on Mahershala Ali and have him start killing vampires." Like, you don't understand Blade.
Yeah, like, definitely.
That is Blade, you moron.
Just do that.
That's why one of the best parts of the Deadpool and Wolverine thing is the fact that they just bring back Wesley Snipes as Blade, and they give him all those fist bumps and just like, "You're the only Blade." And that part's fucking hilarious. I love that little tribute. That fan service. That was fire.
Please just do that. But anyway, I thought Sinners was fine. I watched it twice. I might never watch it again. I can't think of a cause I would have occasion to.
No, why would you?
But I mean, I will say this, and this is probably harsh. In retrospect, I know I went to bat for my boy on that episode. It was better than Frankenstein, and
That's true.
Yeah, we can all agree on that now. We've all
now that you've sobered up from Frankenstein, you're starting to see it with new eyes, aren't you, Richard? You were just really glossing the sauce.
We forced Richard.
Well done.
So Richard's feverish Frankenstein defense was, it's coming apart now that he has to evaluate only against movies that came out in 2025, which then also forces him to evaluate against all other movies. So if it can't even rank in the top 5 of 2025, surely we could agree that this is not a great movie.
Here's the thing. Out of all of the movies that were nominated for Best Picture, it's like third from bottom. I mean,
also, bro,
it did not deserve a nomination.
It had a lot of hype when it came out, but no one even talked about it being in this movie class. Everyone forgot about it.
Eddington not being nominated, Weapons not being nominated, but Frankenstein being nominated is a travesty. So I mean, like, I'm like sober enough to recognize that.
But
now.
Here's the thing, though. I know in a weird way why you have like an affection for it, because it's one of those films, though, where every now and then I follow a lot of like film Twitter accounts, and one of the things I like is because I like aesthetics. So I like when people do that thing where you show 4 screenshots from a movie, but you pick like mega ones that obviously you can do some from Sicario that are like unbelievable with the the troops going through the dusk lighting and stuff. Well, there's some from Frankenstein that you look at the screenshot and you're like, holy fuck, was that in that movie? I forgot that. But then the problem is the movie itself doesn't pull that off in the same way. I even think to myself, the cast, I'm like, it must be better than I remember. Whatever. It's what it is.
Foreplay is brought to you by Prize Picks. And as you may be aware, the NBA playoff push is heating up right now. The teams are almost in playoffs and they're battling for seeding or even the ability to qualify for the bracket. And there's no better way to cash in on the high-flying hoops action than Prize Picks, America's #1 sports pick app. Every bucket, every dime, and every win means more when you're playing on Prize Picks. So don't pass up your next shot with Prize Picks and get $50 instantly in lineups when you play your first $5. Now, of course, NBA calls NHL also heating up in the playoffs. These are not the only ways to play on Prize Picks. And in fact, many of you guys follow us for esports. And as you may know, Counter-Strike, League of Legends, Call of Duty, Valorant, well, they're all on Prize Picks too. How do you play? All you have to do is create a lineup. You can pick between 2 and 6 players, and you select more or less on stats. Now, these stats could be things like kills, headshots, first bloods, many more in esports. And then in traditional sports, things like points scored by a player or assists in the NBA or NHL. And not only that, but you can combine players across sports. So you can even pick traditional sports players with esports players. You can mix Valorant and Counter-Strike stats, you could mix League of Legends and NBA. Whatever you want, you can pick 2 to 6 players, and you can win up to 1,000x your money. So however you want to play along, guys, you can download the Prize Picks app today and use code FOURPLAY, that's FOURPLAY, to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code FOURPLAY to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Thanks to Prize Picks for sponsoring our show.
All right, let's quickly go through some of the other films that
let's do it.
liked.
How much longer have we got? Just checking for time.
20 minutes.
Okay, right. 20-ish minutes. Okay, right. So, what did you guys watch on the list? What else did you watch?
Bugonia.
Okay,
Yeah,
love
we
to
can
talk
talk
about
about
that. Well, okay. Let's. Where would you like to start, Monty?
Oh, I have a question about this movie.
Go on.
Which is, even though I get this in itself has like satirical comedic elements,
Yes.
this movie also is weird because I feel like a lot of people will just view this as a straight horror, and the horror is again trying to be topical of like, this is what like weirdos who are into conspiracy stuff would think. But then here's my problem. I'll give a very quick side tangent. You'll get where I'm going with this. So if anyone's seen the TV show The Boys, quite a popular TV show,
Sure.
right? I was actually even a fan of that comic, so I'm a Garth Ennis fan. And one of the things I think is really does badly in the TV show of The Boys is Garth Ennis wrote The Boys in like the post-Bush period of time. That was like in a battling against like, this is what the establishment is. And the weirdest thing is, because The Boys, the TV show, clearly is supposed to be topical to now and sort of like anti-Trump and MAGA and stuff. They have an episode in The Boys where the boys go and visit like a conspiracon type thing where they go there and it's all the people, who are encoding shit, and they're all like the hillbillies that are racist. And in doing so, right, they present this notion of look how stupid and feckless these people are. They believe in all conspiracies and the deep state. Right? That doesn't work in the movie. I know that's the opinion of the people who made the TV show, but here's why that fails immediately. The TV show premise is the group The Boys is a paramilitary unit funded by the deep state and the CIA. And at the time of this episode, their mission is to assassinate the vice president. That is actually, so what you're doing is taking a premise, making fun of it while showing it is true. So in this movie, these are lunatic people. It's one guy that's like basically is shown as like an incel loser who's just become isolated from society. He believes every conspiracy. He's obviously fixated on this woman. His brother's just like special needs or something. Is going along with it. There's a kind of an interesting dynamic between them. And at the end of it all, right, if you stop the movie, I don't know, 20 minutes before the end, if you ask someone, guess what happens?
Spoilers.
What they would say,
spoilers.
Yeah, what they would say. This spoils the whole episode. Mike. We're talking about the films. What do you want us to do? Talk about the trailer. So when we get to like 20 minutes from the end or whatever, if you ask someone how does the movie end, they're going to say one of two options. Either at the end someone rescues her or she escapes, or they just kill her and it shows that they were just lunatic psychos. But at the end, it was all real. They did intuit somehow she was an alien and that was real. Am I missing something?
I mean, look, this is based off of a South Korean movie that I haven't seen.
Oh, no, listen, that one's actually a classic movie. Escape from the Green Planet or something like that it's called.
Yeah.
The difference is, though, actually, because I've seen that film a long time ago, that film works better, though, Monty, precisely because it doesn't have an American aspect of your conspiracy. And that one works because if you ever have enjoyed foreign language films, you can accept quirkiness more when it's from an alien culture to you. So in that one, the idea that like some Korean guy's all weird like that works better in a weird way than in this one because they have to make him so absurd in this one for me.
Yeah, I mean, to be clear, so I've seen Save the Green Planet, and that is definitely more of a dark comedy than Bugonia, even though the endings are the same.
Basically, it's the tone that I
thought this movie was very funny. So.
Yeah. I mean, look, it's how can I describe it? It's like the comedic beats in the Korean one are more broad. And like it's easy to laugh at and see the kind of like absurdity in the premise. Yeah. This one definitely has more dramatic beats, I would say. But I agree also. I did find this laugh out loud funny. Like, I thought
when Donnie shot himself, I thought it was hilarious.
I mean, bro, like he might be because I'm in love with Emma Stone. I fucking adore her. Like
she's great.
I just think maybe the best working actress in Hollywood right now. Like, is that crazy to say that? I don't
No.
know.
She also
I think
did
she
absolutely
crushed it in this
kill
movie.
what is the central part of this movie, which is the idea, which was a clever conceit, which is obviously you wouldn't, like a normal Hollywood movie, the whole time be, please, I'm just innocent, let me go. Eventually, if you're like someone that's a smart, competent woman, you'd realize I have to play along with this. It's my only chance to get out.
Yep.
That dynamic was interesting. I just don't know that they did enough with it for me.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, I think they're all great in the movie. Jesse Plemons as well, by the way.
Oh, he kills it.
I think he's a super slept on actor in
Yeah,
general.
He's in everything these days. It's crazy how
Yeah,
many.
but the thing
movies
is, look
yeah.
at his range, though, bro.
Yeah.
His range is legit as fuck.
Also, as well, a guy that like he's been fucking huffing his Zempic like it's going out of fashion, and now he can play totally different parts. But I mean, like,
Oh, he used to look like Philip Seymour
why
Hoffman
does it-
for real. Now he just looks thin.
yeah,
He always looked like scuffed Matt Damon to me.
Well, that's what
Like
they called him
Tamu
when he
Damon.
came into Breaking Bad. They called him Meth Damon. That was like
Right.
his the fandom called him Meth Damon. That was obviously like his breakout role.
Yeah.
But I mean, like if you think about the movies he's been in, like that it's mega. Like since about 2014, no 2012.
I mean, he's been taking some.
Because
He's
in
been
the
taking
Master.
that. He's been taking some really weird and difficult roles. Like
Yep.
he was in the. I'm thinking. What was that? I'm thinking of
Ending things.
Thinking of ending
Yeah.
things. That is a fucking weird movie.
Well, I mean, it's
and-
directed by Charlie Kaufman, so it goes without saying.
I know,
a
but it's
weird
like, but
movie.
even by Charlie Kaufman, that's weird. Even by Charlie Kaufman standards.
If you want to see, I mean, first of all, like if you want to see a good movie he's in that also got Oscar nominated, The Power of the Dog. That's like really good. That's Benedict Cumberbatch, Kirsten Dunst, and Jesse Plemons, because he's married to Kirsten Dunst in real life. I think they met on the set of Fargo, maybe, and they got married. I don't know. But anyway, he is great in this movie. But like the guy who steals the show is this actor called Aidan Delbis, right? who plays Donnie. Right, and he in the movie he is like the autistic cousin of the conspiracy guy. In real life, he has autism.
Oh wow, okay,
Okay.
So
Right.
so he
nails it.
yeah, like but it's like I remember there's this insane argumentation that goes on where it's like if you have to cast someone that can't walk, get someone that really can't walk. Because if you remember, Bryan Cranston played a guy in a wheelchair, and there was a bunch of fucking people were all in uproar about it. And it's but this is an autistic guy being cast in an autistic role. He's fucking great. He's the heart of the movie. Like, I was blown away by his performance. Like, actually blown away.
Tell Teddy that I'm sorry, that I love him.
I will.
And I don't think he got nominated for anything, but he should have Best Supporting Actor easily.
I mean, I just love Yorgos Lanthimos too. I think he's just really funny, and all of the tone of his films really does it for me. And I think he's just so unique in his take. And what Thorin was saying, I think, for me, I think that Emma Stone's character really nailed the arc because she basically has to use every weapon at her disposal. You know, she's a high-powered CEO. She's going to try and boss people around, and then she's going to try and play along, and then she's going to try and escape at the same time. I found this performance to be really varied and very believable. And also, by the end, it's just like Yorgos Lanthimos, it like almost always in his films just devolves into absurdism, and the fact that you think that she's leading Jesse Plemons' character on at the end with this stupid like calculator code into the closet so that he could be captured, and then he explodes obviously because there's some interaction between the bomb he's wearing and the alien technology, and then she leaves. Then she later uses that same technology to leave Earth and go back to the spaceship. It's just really fucking
bro.
funny.
You would really think that last scene with her, there's a queen, there's like AI or something. You'd think I wouldn't. There's no way that's in a movie. That's what's meant.
I don't know. I thoroughly enjoyed this movie, but I am a sucker for Yorgos Lanthimos films in general. So
yeah, I mean, look, put it this way: is it as accessible as Poor Things? Not really. Poor Things obviously got Oscar nominated as well. And I love that movie. I think that movie's like maybe his best. But I did enjoy this. I thought this was a rip-roaring time. It's also great how like pared down it is. You know how like we were saying about like other movies, we always do this thing like with Reservoir Dogs, right, which we did recently. You know, like we always do this thing where we go like, oh, it could have been a stage play. You know, like this could have been a stage play, right? Like easily.
Absolutely.
It's just people in a room. You know what I mean? It's just people in a room. And this is essentially an extended version of the Mr. Blonde scene. Like, you know, Tochiu, that's good. You know, that hadn't occurred to me. So I love it. Great acting throughout. As an adaptation of another movie, really good. It does change it a lot tonally, although I would urge people to seek out the first one. And if I had to find an analog to Duncan's point, where it's like the twist, if you like, is that the conspiracy theorists are right. There's a really good film with Michael Shannon in called Take Shelter.
Oh, sure. Yes.
Which basically is.
By the way, if you don't want this room, definitely pause this and skip forward, because that one's like you don't want to know what happened. That's really out of
well,
nowhere.
you know what? I won't say anything because it's.
Fair.
We got to move on to the other movies.
It's a Michael Shannon masterclass. If you like Michael Shannon,
we'll save it for the conspiracy theories arc. Which actually would be a banger arc.
That would be a banger. Yeah. Absolutely. Did any of you watch Hamnet?
No.
Right,
look, it's mental because
Richard,
that sounds like
I'm just going to tell you, I got
watch when I saw the description.
I got so burned by Shakespeare in Love being such utter garbage that it became very difficult for me to watch.
And let's be real, after Gladiator 2, you can't fuck with that main actor, can you? So I tell you what, I don't want to see anything he's in now, bro.
Look, the legacy of Gladiator 2 and Shakespeare in Love have poisoned me forever.
Right, well, I'll just say this. I went into it with like high hopes. I love Jessie Buckley. I don't think did she deserve the Oscar? Let's have a look who else was nominated. No, Emma Stone should have had it, of course. But whatever, she got the Oscar. She's a great actress. Love her work. But there was a big conspiracy about this. Not controversy about this. Okay. None of you saw. But basically, you know that On the Nature of Daylight by Max Richter. That's in everything. It's that like sad song. You'll know if you heard it. It's in Arrival. Whenever there's a sad
not ringing a bell. Anyway.
Yeah, it's the music from Arrival. Everyone will know what I'm talking about. Anyway, basically, previous movies that have included.
Oh, you will know this, Monty.
Yeah.
I've just looked it up. It's the one that has just like essentially really slow violins.
Yeah. It's also in Shutter Island.
It's supposed to be like it's supposed to be evocative of like emotion or something in it. Yeah, exactly.
So anyway, like other movies that have been nominated for best soundtrack, best score, have been told that they cannot. That they've been ousted from being nominated. They've been excluded because ultimately it included Max Richter's song On the Nature of Daylight. The entire score for this is just the notes, the chords from On the Nature of Daylight, and yet it was allowed to be nominated. So
why are you not allowed? Is it because it's already won in the past or something?
So the argument is, if you use something that wasn't conducted for the movie, then ultimately, if it's a big prominent part of the film, you won't be the listener wouldn't be able to differentiate between the original.
The logic
work
here being this is score, not soundtrack, which is obviously the distinction you have to make. Right? Okay, I get it.
So anyway, but this was allowed to be nominated, and the whole movie is just playing the chords from this over and over again. And then when it actually played the full song at the end in the final scene, I just couldn't believe they went there. I was like, so anyway, pure Oscar bait in the worst sense, really trying to tug at the heartstrings. It is emotional. It's about a dead kid. But I was super disappointed with this film. I barely. It also dragged like a motherfucker. I was getting really bored with it by the end. So I went in. I thought Hamnet was going to be amazing. I think I even said in a previous episode, like, oh, it's going to win all the Oscars. It's going to clean up. Thank fuck it didn't. Because it's actually not enjoyable in any way, shape, or form for me, at least. Not a movie I'm going to rewatch.
All right. Before we end, I do want to shout out Train Dreams, which I would never have watched if we weren't doing this.
What a banger, right?
But Joel Edgerton is so good in this movie.
What a banger.
Unbelievably good. And like, this movie was never going to win Best Picture, but purely as a meditation on a working man's life, it's a very, very interesting piece.
Yeah.
And it's very atmospheric, not a lot of dialogue. It's an interesting picture for sure. I don't think it's incredible, but it certainly is emotionally
You'll
powerful.
definitely like this one, Duncan. It's not narrative driven, it's vibes driven.
Okay.
And it's just basically like, how do we like what is it to spend a life just kind of like hopping from like one moment, one experience to the other without really putting down any roots.
It's
a
all
banger.
Joel Edgerton's character, Robert Grenier, spends his entire life in just Idaho, like northern Idaho. And it's very specific. It's like he never really even goes to Montana or Washington or whatever, right? And so he exists in this world where he is doing these odd jobs and logging and all of this stuff.
He's like riding the rails basically, but he's living that kind of lifestyle.
But it's just like pure vibes of early to mid 20th century America and like a blue collar guy in the woods.
Pure
and
Americana, and probably out of all of the movies I saw, for all the accolades like movies like Sinners got for their visuals, this was the best looking movie of the year. This was fucking
also
gorgeous,
just
hypnotic.
Oh yeah, it's beautifully shot.
Yeah.
But honestly, Joel Edgerton not even being nominated for Best Actor is insane to me.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's because it's like one of those like really understated parts. You know what I mean? Do you know who should have got nommed? William H. Macy. Holy shit, he nearly steals the picture. He's like, because you just forgot that motherfucker exists, right? Like, when was the last time you saw William H. Macy in a movie? He turns up in this, and again, like, I actually don't want to spoil this, but let's just say he's an explosives expert and leave it there. He steals the show in all the scenes he's in. Brilliant performance. And I thought this movie was like super slept on. I'm glad because it was on Netflix. It was
I never even heard of it. So because it was just on Netflix,
the kiss of death. That normally means it's
I know, but like again, we're talking about what a great year it was for horror. It was also a great year for Netflix. Now they had two Best Picture nominations. Frankenstein and this.
Oh, Frankenstein, of course. Okay.
So, I mean, obviously, we can all laugh about Frankenstein and, definitely what didn't deserve it. But still, the premise of, like, what I've always said is, like, Netflix is where creativity goes to die. And yet, they are still getting these Oscar nominations now. They're really ahead of the curve where a lot of other content creators are, There hasn't been, like, a Tubi movie nominated for an Oscar, I don't think, or, like, a Hulu movie or, from the, Amazon Prime have done a bunch of, like, they've attempted to make Oscar quality movies, like that one with Jamie Foxx and Tommy Lee Jones, that legal drama that they did. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but you tell me Jamie Foxx and Tommy Lee Jones in a fucking courtroom drama, I'm in. Like, what the fuck? Of course I'm watching that. Don't give a fuck. I don't care if it comes out the other end and it's 2 stars. I'll watch that all day. But Netflix are like really ahead of the curve. So a really good year for Netflix as well. And just before we end, Monty, because I know you keen to wrap up the show so we can record the other thing that I won't say we're recording. But I did sit through Formula One, so I have to mention it. What the fuck is this? Did either of you watch this?
No, because here's the problem, Richard. I just saw it. It's a movie about Formula One with Brad Pitt. I was like, decade.
So Richard, I will say, I'll get this. I almost saw this movie in the theaters last summer because
how did that happen?
So here is the choice. Okay, so I happened to be back in the States, and I had one time slot to go see a movie, and I had to choose between that and Wes Anderson's The Phoenician Scheme.
Well, I mean, you made the right choice. You made the right choice.
Look, okay. I wasn't. It was the thing about that movie was it's like I shrugged my shoulders and said it's another Wes Anderson movie and moved on with my life. It was a very Wes Anderson film and it was fine. But I think Wes Anderson has pretty much run out of tricks at this point in his career. You know exactly what you're getting when you go to a Wes Anderson movie. It was exactly that thing, and it was pretty good and somewhat enjoyable. But yes, I did choose that over Formula One.
This movie is diabolical. It's everything you think it would be. To call it Top Gun with cars is somehow reductive to Top Gun. Like,
I like Top Gun.
yeah, I know, right? Like, but it's produced by Jerry Bruckheimer, or as we call him, Jerry Brickhammer, because that's how subtle his movies are. It's just designed to advertise Formula One. You know, they did that like documentary, Drive to Survive or whatever, and then all the like people that wouldn't normally watch Formula One are like, oh my god, it's super interesting now.
That was on one got into it.
Yeah.
I like Drive to Survive, but I also think that there have been a lot of. I haven't seen Ford versus Ferrari, but I like Rush, the movie. Ron Howard movie.
This isn't Rush. This is a joke. They tried so hard as well. It's like produced by Jerry Bruckheimer, starring Brad Pitt, Javier Bardem, music by Hans Zimmer. You're like, okay, it's got to be good, right? No, it fucking sucks. It's. I mean, where do we even begin? I'll just.
How
summarize.
did they fuck this up then, Richard? Because I watched it, but I think of so many real seasons of Formula One and some of the mega, Senna and Schumacher. You could make amazing film. So how did they fuck it up?
Right. Okay. So this is my take on how they fucked it up. I mean, first of all, like I can maybe forgive that the movie is just drenched in cliche, right? Because it's a sports movie. But anyway, like, so Brad Pitt is a guy who crashed his car in the 90s and fucked himself up so bad he can't drive at Formula One level again. But he's like in Daytona or something, and he wins. And then one of his old teammates, who's played by Javier Bardem, best thing in the movie, Brad Pitt sucks in this film. He turns up and goes, "Hey, we've got this fucked up Formula One team that's like struggling. Do you want to come and be our number 2? And basically, if we just win one race, a billionaire is going to buy our team, and then I can get out from under this train wreck nightmare of a Formula One team." So Brad Pitt comes in, but they have this brilliant young driver who's super talented, right? And he's going to be his mentor, but super young, cool driver won't listen to Brad Pitt. Brad Pitt is doing a voice in this movie. He's like, "What are you doing, man?" He's like, he sounds like he's just out of breath all the time. I don't even understand what's happening.
Sounds like Joey Diaz.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but like Joey Diaz is out of breath all the time because Joey Diaz is high all the time and weighs 500 pounds.
Yes, exactly.
Brad Pitt should not be out of breath all the time. But anyway, so there's a bunch of stuff, and then like Brad Pitt gets triggered by the young driver, and then basically like Brad Pitt crashes a car because he wants to feel alive again, and he enters a Grand Prix and he crashes his car and nearly dies, and then they do a medical on him, and it turns out they find his old injuries which would have disqualified him for driving, because apparently they just didn't do a medical the first time.
Seems absurd when you cut how much the car costs.
Absurdity is just baked into this film, dude. Like, you've just got to...
I mean, one thing I already have to ask as someone who didn't watch it, do they make the cardinal sin, Richard, that cause one character's a protagonist, they can just like overtake everyone in Formula One?
Oh, I mean, the driving scenes have real drivers in. Like, Lewis Hamilton features pretty prominently in this movie. He's like framed as the guy to beat, and
that's pretty cool.
Verstappen's in it too. But so they do reference all of that stuff, and the races they reference, I don't follow Formula One, but I know these are real Grand Prix. So
okay. No, that's what I was asking. Does it do real? Because if people don't know, the reason why you have to have something like Drive to Survive is people who don't know Formula One don't know. If you don't have a good enough car, you can't win. Well, it's impossible. You can be the best driver ever. If you have the worst car, it's impossible.
That's pretty much. That's part of the storyline as well.
Oh, right. That's cool,
basically because
I was worried it would just be some, like put the floor down and let Jesus take them. Oh, I'm winning the race. I can't believe it.
But
like,
then it sounds good. But then you realise that Brad Pitt's character is also just a mechanics genius, and he's like, if you change this and you use these tires,
there you go. I knew there was going to be some.
There it is. Oh no, you haven't heard it. You haven't heard the best part yet. Like where they totally missed the point of the movie.
Go on.
Right. So remember this. Brad Pitt's character is gone his entire life, and he's never won bigly in Formula One because he crashed and he all his career went away. And so in the last race, which by the way, it's the Abu Dhabi one, so whatever.
Oh, okay.
Right? They basically have the young, cool driver that like is the future of Formula One. He's like racing with like Lewis Hamilton, and he's going to get in the lead. And remember, it's basically like it's Brad Pitt's job to essentially get that guy to number one.
Him to win. Yes, okay, exactly. That's what you do as number 2. Yes.
Basically, what ends up happening is instead of that storyline being he drives a good race and
Richard,
could win.
I haven't seen anything. Does Lewis Hamilton and this young guy both crash, allowing Brad Pitt to just win the race? Have I guessed it? Have I actually just guessed it? Is that what happens?
Pretty much.
Oh, that's boo! If that's true, that would be the worst ending of a Formula One movie, Richard.
Yeah, literally they crash into
Ah.
it. Literally they
Yeah,
crash
they go
into
on the
each
last
other.
turn or something to try and overtake.
On the last lap, bro.
Fuck.
Yeah, on the last lap.
Oh, by the way, if
Right.
anyone knows anything on Formula One, it's not a photo finish
No.
sport. Like, you just win at the end. Like, you have to take
So-
over at like three laps earlier.
So
or something.
basically,
Americans, stop making movies.
know, so basically, right? Instead of the whole cathartic,
Right.
like it's basically like it should have been Rocky, because in the first Rocky,
Yeah.
he doesn't win.
He should make the young guy win, and
Yeah,
that should be the
yeah,
end.
exactly.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Wrong. And then immediately afterwards, basically, the cool young driver that they've been promoting
Turns to him and says, "You could be my number two."
Yeah,
And
exactly,
he goes,
yeah,
"Nah,
yeah,
you can
yeah,
be."
yeah.
No, wait a minute, he really does do that.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't.
Oh, but that would actually tilt me if it was the top gun
they
ending.
offer him Mercedes come along or something and go, "Hey, great race out there. You were unlucky, man. Want to be like on Mercedes?" And he goes, "No, I'm gonna be on the shit team, yo, because I've learned."
by the way, Richard,
That-
you guys
You
won't know
also
this.
just go to the best car in Formula One. You don't ever do that. Oh,
No,
it's
Richard.
bad, sir.
That is literally the ending to the Pixar movie Cars.
Oh, there you go. Well, there you go. I wouldn't have got that reference either. But anyway,
I watch kids movies with my kids, and so literally at the end of Cars, the red sports car who wins, right? He is offered a chance to get onto a better team and with a better sponsor, and he says no because he wants to be loyal to his current team.
Here's the worst part about this film.
So they copied the ending of Cars.
Here's the worst part about this
Another
movie, guys.
car movie,
Right? I know, right? But here's the worst thing about Formula One, right? It's a movie about speed and racing, and like the main character like just wants to feel it again and get his big win, and
Yeah.
So make this movie 90 minutes, right? This movie is as long as like Lord of the Rings. It's like I couldn't believe it, dude. I put it on. And
Holy fuck! It's a 2-hour, 35-minute movie,
bro. It's insane.
Meanwhile,
I've
you
never.
could just watch Train Dreams and be in and out in an hour 45.
I know, bro. I couldn't believe it. I was like, fucking hell. Like, I know what's coming. Like, just give him the win. It's obvious where you're going with this dog shit. But no, it just keeps on going and going and going and going. Hans Zimmer, by the way, I never thought I'd say this. He's turned into a motherfucking hack. Like, what's going on?
Oh, is he doing it?
He's on
Cliche.
Richard's on my side.
Nah, the score of this is so OTT. Like,
Okay.
so you're like, oh, I hated everything about this movie. I hated it. I actually despise it. The fact that this has been nominated for
Why
Best
was it
Picture,
nominated,
I
then?
have no idea. I have no. Well, look, I'll say this: the races, as I understand, car go fast because I don't follow Formula One.
Yeah.
The races are shot well.
Oh, people just say that if you're actually a Formula One enthusiast, you enjoy it.
Yeah,
Right.
I guess.
Right. Okay.
I
fair
guess,
enough.
and apparently it's got like a ton of like cameos from real people, none of which I would know.
Right. Okay.
So maybe
Right.
that's good. I mean, like obviously
Right.
I know Lewis Hamilton is, and I know like Fernando Alonso's in it as well.
Oh, right. Okay.
So I know these people from the
Fair
the TV, but like apparently there's loads of others. Like there's like I don't know. Like, there's loads of famous drivers in it, basically, to give it
So
authenticity.
basically, everyone who's in Formula One almost agreed to be in the film if they wanted.
Yeah, because, like, as far as I can tell, because this was made by Apple, right? So as far as I can tell, this was just another Formula One marketing scheme like Drive to Survive to
and
get
it's also
people
why,
into
as you say,
F1.
the Abu Dhabi race is the one at the end. Where give me a fucking break. All right, whatever.
Yeah,
We'll
we're just not going to talk about any of the problems.
why would we?
None of that.
Listen, I'm trying to get this car to go fast.
So anyway, it is not Top Gun with cars. Top Gun is an enjoyable film that has a lot of clean
I also
shit,
just,
satisfying
even though
that.
you
This
just,
is
I didn't
terrible.
watch this film, but even you just telling me that he just magically has like if you tweak the piston, that car kill me.
Bro,
now,
it's crazy. I can't even remember.
I have to go.
I can't even remember
If you
what he said.
overclock it's every single hack does the same thing I've always mentioned a million times. It's the Star Trek.
Here it is.
engineer,
Here it
like,
is.
If you
I've got it in front of me.
Divert the dilithium crystals to the shields, though, Captain. You're like, it's just that.
I've just
Formula One in
opened. I've
that.
just opened the Wikipedia
on.
page, right? And I'm looking
Come
at
on.
the plot summary, and here it is. Brad Pitt's character struggles with the modern Formula One machinery, but quickly diagnoses the car's weaknesses, proposes proposing that the vehicle be upgraded with enhanced aerodynamics. I mean, what even is that? Right?
That's just fucking
Let the
Let's just make
mechanical
the
engineers, how come they
aerodynamics
didn't think of
better.
that?
Yeah, I know, right?
jargon wanker.
Yeah. To
By the way,
compensate for
every
their
other
speed
car,
disadvantage.
remember,
Yeah.
Formula One is a way that car manufacturers show off how sick their tech and technicians are. But some
Also
old guy
employ
rolls
some
like,
of the best
have you ever thought
mechanical
of just
engineers
changing
in
that?
the
And they're like,
world.
we never even thought
I
of
might
that.
even,
Wow,
I
it
might
makes
even
more
have got
faster.
that. Might not even be the scene I'm thinking about, because I think this is the scene I'm thinking about. So it goes, during the rain-affected Italian Grand Prix, Brad Pitt advises super cool young driver to remain on slick tires and trade grip for speed.
Okay.
Like, so he's just like some savant, even though he's not been in Formula One for like decades. He like just comes in and goes, "You want to do this, kid?" There's also there's an unreal speech where they're having an argument, and like he's going, "I know I'm the best man. I'm a and Brad's going, "I've seen a million guys like you." It's that thing. Like,
bloody hell.
just shoot me in the face, like if I ever have to watch this again. So there you go.
Any other thoughts on the Oscars this year?
I thought overall pretty good year for the Oscars. I think we'll look back. This is one of the better ones. Marty Supreme was absolutely robbed. Another one to check out if you get an opportunity, which we haven't talked about here, is Sentimental Value. It's
That's the Skarsgård one, yeah.
Yeah, that's the one with because Skarsgård got nominated for Best Supporting Actor. He's great in that film. It's a poignant family drama, but one that's really done. It doesn't cut any corners with the story. So if you just want to sit down and watch a kind of depressing, I assume Danish movie, then it's got you covered. But ultimately, I thought, all the big ticket, big tent movies that we had were pretty good this year. So there you have it. Don't watch Hamnet. Don't watch Formula One. We won't talk about Frankenstein. The rest of them are pretty good.
All I'll say is this. I just get annoyed at where people get too emotional about like, this thing didn't win, this thing did. It's like that. Yeah, here's the problem. You're doing that thing where you have a nostalgia for a past that never existed. Like there never was an era when the Oscars just gave the Oscars to the best movie and the best director, and that actually was the seal of approval that this was an awesome film. There's been occasional times where they happen to, like we're saying, they sometimes have another reason to do it, and then it happens that a great film wins. That does something happen. But if you ever look in history, I'm not exaggerating. If you wrote down your top 50 films, most of them never won the Oscar, and some shite won that year. Like, it's not trying to
we
get
talked
that
about
bent
how
out of
Pulp
shape.
Fiction was robbed in the Tarantino.
Heat wasn't. I think Heat wasn't
More often than not,
like
you'll look back and what wins the Oscar isn't the best picture of the year, and that's true more often than it isn't. So
So to me, it's not about who wins. The more important thing, the only thing I would complain about is if they don't get nominated. It's more, to me, again, it's just like Player of the Year in sports. You might disagree with who wins. The question is who were the people in the nominee pool.
Exactly.
And if you look at that, you're probably going to see a lot of the good films. I do think it is worth looking up, for example, in a specific year, what were the nominated films, then have a look at some of them. Yeah, that's worth what. There's a value to that.
Yeah, and I'll just say Eddington was the big snub this year. I have no idea why it was overlooked. I guess, again, might have been A24 were marketing different films, because that was like another A24 effort.
Yeah, that's also what I said earlier. Essentially, it's also based on which the studio chooses to push. They do sort of say, not this one, this one. That is a real thing, apparently.
But ultimately, that should have been nominated. Weapons should have been nominated. Watch both of those movies if you haven't seen them, because they're better than some of the movies that were. But yeah, good Oscars. No drama, no boring fucking... I mean, apart from like Javier Bardem did win a fucking I Stand With Iran pin or something mental like that. And
put it this way, if you're going to bring that up, I'll mention this one thing.
Go on.
I actually wonder if he is going to end up just being a performative dickhead. Here's why. Because he said, unless this was AI, Richard, I saw an interview clip where he essentially implied that if you support Israel, he will never work with you. And I'm like, you work in Hollywood, brother. Like, are you actually, what? How could... You're either not going to live up to that promise, mate, or you are not going to be in Hollywood anymore.
I didn't say. I think it was at the Emmys. I think he walked because.
But what an absurd premise! Yeah. That would be like someone who works on Wall Street saying the same thing. Like, how's that going to work then, homie?
Yeah,
you're sort of in with them at this point in time, mate. Like, how are you going to extricate yourself from that? So, spoiler, I believe you will see Javier Bardem in a load of movies that are involved with people who have a positive view of Israel. I don't even think that'll be controversial. It just seems like a weird thing to even say out loud.
So, yeah, I mean, like, but other than that, I think people pretty much read the assignment. and it was all feel good, and no cringe speeches apart from the K-pop Demon Hunters one.
And referencing the stupid fucking Tourette's guy or whatever, but
Yeah.
whatever. If anything, that actually overshadowed that as well, didn't
Yeah,
it?
true.
But thankfully, that will be forgotten in like 10 years. It'll just
True.
be about what the movies were.
But yeah, I
The
enjoy-
K-pop Demon Hunters thing was so whack. I don't even know.
I know
where to
it's
start
like
with that.
it's like
Well, they did the thing, Richard,
Yeah.
which Monty, which I also hate, which is you do that thing of like, essentially, this is the real problem. Actually, modern performative leftism has. It's never cool unless you're the first. So as a result, get ready. You thought you saw Sarah Connor. No, you didn't. There was never a female action star until, I don't know, Jennifer Lawrence. And then you thought you saw black people in like Blade. You didn't. Actually, Black Panther was the first superhero movie that had black person. The point here is it always has to be the newest and the first one, and they're totally oppressed, which actually does undercut it. Like, by the way, the idea that of all the things, K-pop Demon Hunters, mate, Parasite, everyone wanked off over that for a goon session of 1,000 years. Still hasn't ended now. That wasn't like 10 years in the future. That already happened. That director at this point everyone says every film makes a 10 out of 10. But you're going to pretend I'm like the first Korean to ever be acknowledged by the West.
I was gonna put this out there.
Oh, my
you know,
God.
you won
And you're
best
just doing K-pop as well. Not
you
shit.
won best animated picture for K-pop Demon Hunters. Let's not pretend you're in the same league
Yeah.
as Parasite, which is a respected piece of art.
Yeah.
Come on.
I mean, like I will say this: K-pop Demon Hunters did seem to go over well with a lot of people. I didn't think it would, so I'm probably never going to watch it. But I mean, like a lot.
I've seen it. It's fine. Like, look, man, it's huge. Obviously, it's extremely impressive as a cultural phenomenon. Golden hit #1 in America as a song. It's been huge. Like, I live in Korea. It's everywhere here, right? My son loves the movie. All his friends love the movie. I'm not throwing shade at it. I'm just saying that to pretend that this was some sort of breakthrough moment when literally the Korean government has spent the last decades spreading K-pop around the world very deliberately and increasing, like, the government of Korea has been pushing the arts and getting those to export other places for decades. You are standing on the shoulders of a multi-decade national project. You know what I mean? Like, and you've already been recognized for it. They won the top award. You could win. And the directors are making Hollywood movies now. Why are we pretending? Everybody knows what Korea is. It's not 1994.
I know.
I'm just glad that we didn't get, because what happened after Parasite won Best Picture was some of the most cringeworthy shit I've ever seen on the internet, where it was like those people making videos going, "How dare a South Korean movie win Best Picture? You got Best Foreign Film. How dare you?" I was like, oh my God, like, why is this happening? So yeah, anyway, but we got through largely unscathed. It was, you know, so I'll give the Oscars an 8 out of 10 for the movies that were nominated, and an 8 out of 10 for celebrities not being dickheads. There you go. There's the
There you go. All right. We're going to do our Robert Duvall arc next. We had to take a break for this one night stand. It is Colors, The Apostle, A Civil Action, and Open Range. We will see you for the start of that next week.